I swear that if Conan would let me ride with him, I will give my life for him. We shall see. Okay, so "we shall see" is one of those sayings, one of those lines from Arnold that I use all the time. Like, not all the time, but quite often. Love that line. It's like, to me, it's very similar to like "I'll be back" or something like that. Love that line. Anyway, we are back, and tonight we are reviewing one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my top, three of all time, Conan the Barbarian. I am in honor of Conan the Barbarian. I'm wearing the only shirt that actually has a has a Conan the Barbarian, but it has all kinds of other things too. This is a mashup of Schwarzenegger and Street Fighter, so it's got a bunch of different Schwarzenegger stuff. The only one that's not Schwarzenegger is right there. You got Danny DeVito. Anyway, yeah. Love this movie. Before we get into it, I really want to give you some disclaimers. Most people who have been listening to my, or watching or listening to my reviews know that these videos are completely unedited and unfiltered. So whatever comes out of my mouth is what comes out of my mouth. I will say adult things, absolutely. So if your kids are in the room, or you want to put your headphones on, or ask them to leave or something like that, because I will say adult things. And just so you know, there will be spoilers, especially for the movie that I'm reviewing. But, sometimes I go off on tangents, give spoilers for other movies. Have no fear, I'll put a list of every single movie that I mention underneath this video, and there'll be a header that says spoilers. So if you want to avoid spoilers, you can. So let's get into it, because I've got tons of notes, because I could literally talk about every second in this movie. I've seen it so many times, absolutely love it. Like I said, it's one of my top, absolute top three films of all time. So, this does qualify for something in the book. We're almost done with the book. Challenge number 20. Set during your favorite time period. Now, I don't know exactly the time period, but I love this sword and sorcery time period. I love watching movies then. I would love to make movies. I would love to make, films set in that time period. Swords and sorcery and horses and that kind of thing. So the movie title, Conan the Barbarian, year released 1982, aspect ratio 2.35:1, running time 2 hours and 9 minutes. The date challenge complete. I completed it. I watched it earlier today, did my notes, doing the review May 20th. You probably won't get the review until the 21st because it's almost 10 o'clock already. So my rating is 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Love this movie. Love this movie. And I feel, even though, we'll get into it, but even though it was made in 1982, there are elements of this that are so much better, in my opinion, than film today. Genre. Now, IMDb's gotten crazy with the genres, so I've only put the few that I like. Sword and sorcery, which I'm glad they added that. That's a new genre that I appreciate. Sword and sorcery. Adventure and fantasy. Rated R. Starring too many people to put on this little line, especially when you have somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger who takes up the entire line. So we got Arnold Schwarzenegger. We got James Earl Jones. Oh my God. Max von Sydow is brilliant in this. Sandal Bergman, I have notes. She's brilliant. She won an award. Let's see, who else? Jerry Lopez is fantastic. I love Mako. I love him in this film. He's fantastic. I wanted to say William Smith. I'll say why I have notes. Franco Columbo, Arnold's buddy, Sven Ole Thorsen, Arnold's other buddy, are both in this film. This movie is it's wonderful. So let's go on. Directed by John Milius. Produced by Raffaella De Laurentiis and Buzz Fishon. I hope I'm saying that right. I have some notes to that effect because I was very surprised to see, as I've said in other reviews, I only mention the ones that actually say produced by, not executive or co or whatever. I only say produced by, and it's very interesting that the ones that says produced by are not the ones, the first people that show up in the credits. Written by John Milius, which I didn't know, and Oliver Stone, which I love and didn't realize, okay, they wrote this together. Based on characters by Robert E. Howard, who wrote Conan, the comics and things like that. Music, love the music. Again, one of those soundtracks I could listen to all day long. The soundtrack for the second film, I'm not reviewing the second one, even though I love the second movie. Not going to review it unless people really want me to. I would totally review it if people want me to, but I feel like it's far less popular and people probably just wouldn't want to listen to a review of the second one. But anyway, the music for this one is amazing. I like the music for the second one, but parts of the soundtrack for the second one aren't quite as like standalone wonderful. This one is absolutely 100% standalone wonderful. I have the soundtrack, listen to it all the time, quite often, maybe not all the time. Awards received. Now, here's where I was surprised. Sandal Bergman won a Golden Globe for Best Newcomer. You know, Schwarzenegger won a Golden Globe for Best Newcomer back when he did Stay Hungry. So I was a little surprised. Whoa, Sandal Bergman won an award for this. You know what? I'm just going to say it now. To get it out of the way, I met Sandal Bergman. She's so sweet. She's like the best friend of a really good friend of mine, and I met her at a party that my friend had. I can't remember if it was a birthday party or if it was like her daughter's engagement party. It was a party that she had, and I met Sandal Bergman and was just over the moon and talked to her, and she was the sweetest person in the world. And I'll tell you later on what my conversation was with her, but I just wanted to mention that now, that, you know, Sandal is a very sweet girl. And I like her also, I mean, not just this, but I really liked her in Red Sonja. I know Red Sonja is not a hugely popular film. I love it because I used to watch it all the time as a kid. I recognize that it's not like the world's greatest film, but nostalgia and just fun and great. Sometimes we don't care that it's like a poorly made film. We love it anyway. And that's absolutely one of them. And the music for that one, Ennio Morricone, God, the music for that one is amazing. That's the first thing I always think of when I think of, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Red Sonja. When I think Red Sonja, one of the first things that pops in my mind is Arnold, but also like right next to it is the music. The music is amazing. Anyway, Sandal Bergman won for this Golden Globe, but she also won Best Actress, Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, which is the Saturn Awards. So she won multiple awards for this film, which she's fantastic. I love her. She's just wonderful. So I'm glad that she won. She got some recognition. I'm a little sad that Arnold didn't get any recognition, but we'll talk about that. And I am biased. Why'd you choose this film? I love Arnold. And like I said, this is one of my top 3. So Quentin Tarantino did this interview one time where he said, if you were trapped on a desert island, what are the 3 movies that, and you could only take 3 movies with you to watch for the rest of your life. Like, what are the 3 movies that you would take with you? And I remember Tarantino said Taxi Driver, which I love, fantastic. Rio Bravo, which I hadn't seen. So when I heard this of Tarantino, I decided to watch Rio Bravo and was pleasantly surprised. It's fantastic. So I ended up buying Rio Bravo. And the third one he talks about is Blowout with John Travolta. I was not a fan of Blowout. It was fine, okay, but not at all one of my favorites, okay? And that's okay. You know, we don't all have the same opinion about film, and that's fine. Tarantino hated this movie, Conan the Barbarian, and it is absolutely one of my 3. If I were to answer that, number 1 would absolutely be Conan the Barbarian. Absolutely. Number 2 would be The Hateful Eight. Absolutely, The Hateful Eight. And number 3 is a really hard one. I used to always say Mr. Brooks because I love Mr. Brooks, but I love Denis Villeneuve so much and his directing style. I would love to pick one of his films. Like, I would hate that I would never be able to see one of his films again. But it's so hard to pick one of his films. Like, do I pick Prisoners? Do I pick Sicario? Do I pick, Arrival? What do I pick? Because his films are so beautifully done. It's hard to say which one I would take with me. And that's why, for the longest time, my answer was always Conan the Barbarian, The Hateful Eight, and Mr. Brooks. but now I really want to replace Mr. Brooks with something Denis Villeneuve. I just don't know what. Anyway, we're going off on tangents like I normally do. Have you seen this movie before? Oh yeah, plenty of times. I saw it. This is one of the movies. Okay, I will say, I used to watch Conan the Destroyer. I used to watch that one all the time. I think that maybe as a kid, 8, 10 years old, I didn't get this one as well. It was slow. There's hardly any dialogue. There's almost no dialogue. There's very little dialogue. And so I didn't quite get the brilliance of it until I was older and started appreciating film. So I used to always watch Destroyer. Why? Because it's fun and it's campy and it's it's comic-ish. It's high adventure and fun and bright and so I used to watch that one all the time. We had it recorded on old VHS, and so I used to watch that one all the time. It wasn't until I got a little older, probably in my maybe early teens, that I finally watched and appreciated Conan the Barbarian and fell in love with it. Would you recommend this film? I would recommend it to anybody who one wants to see early Schwarzenegger, two who loves this genre, which sword and sorcery, I appreciate that. So who loves sword and sorcery? Well, you want to see some classic sword and sorcery. Conan the Barbarian, I love it. I love it. So yes, there are certain people I would recommend this to, certain people I probably wouldn't recommend this to. Which character were you most able to identify with or connect with in which way? I don't like this question that much, but I did answer it, and I'm getting tongue-tied because I'm trying to hurry because I know I have lots of notes, so sorry. Maybe I should slow down a little bit and take my time because I know I do have a lot of notes, but if the review is good, people will listen. If you build it, they will come. Okay. I answered this question as asked. Which character were you able to identify with and connect with in what way? Subotai. Why? Because he is the loyal friend. He's there when you count on him, and most people say that of me, and I know that that's the kind of person that I am. So I agree with that. Now, if I were to answer it the way I would like it asked, which character would you play? Conan. I would love to play Conan or play Conan's son. I don't have the look for it, but I would love to do that. Just because, like I said, this is like my favorite genre of all time, and I would love to be in a high-fly sword and sorcery film, like just tearing shit up, blood everywhere, that kind of thing. Sword. I love swordplay. I really do. That's an answer to another question, so let's just keep going. Best line or memorable quote. For a film that has so little dialogue, there are so many amazing and wonderful lines in this film. So it's hard to pick one. One of them I will answer later. The number one most memorable line in this whole film, for me, I will answer later on because it's part of a note. So I won't put it here, but I will say, to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. That line was ad-libbed by Arnold. It is, I believe, his first line in the film, which, is like 20 minutes into the movie or something like that. I have notes. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But that line, I believe is like 20 minutes into the film. It's his first line, and it was ad-libbed by Arnold. They just asked him, and they caught it on film. He said it in character, and they were like, that's it. That's the line. They did not have that line written. It was all ad-libbed. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? I wouldn't change a thing. Now, I have notes as to the ending in the version that I have is not the ending that I remember that my dad had recorded on VHS, and it's not the ending that I remember. We're going to talk about the ending because I have a lot of this one, answering the questions here is really getting into the notes, so it's kind of hard to answer these questions. I don't remember being surprised by the ending. I remember enjoying the ending, and I wouldn't change a thing. In this entire film, I wouldn't change a thing. Why is this your favorite time period? I love the swords, like I said. I love swordplay. When I was on stage, when I did Hamlet, I played Hamlet when I was 17 years old, got in the newspaper. People loved it. I had people coming up to me saying they never understood Shakespeare before they came and saw me. I also choreographed the fight scene, the sword fight scene at the end, the rapier and dagger with Hamlet and Laertes. I have actually the newspaper framed up here, but you can't really see it on my wall, the newspaper from when I played Hamlet. Anyway, I loved that fight scene so much and playing with swords so much that the company I was a part of sort of founded the East County Shakespeare Festival, or East County Shakespeare, I think it was East County Shakespeare Festival. It's been so long. Like I said, 17. I can't remember the exact name of it. But the next production that we did was Romeo and Juliet. I mean, everybody's got to do Romeo and Juliet, even though it's not my favorite. I played Tybalt. I wanted to play Tybalt. Why? Because I wanted to do that fight scene between Tybalt and Mercutio, and then Tybalt and Romeo. And I choreographed that fight scene, and that fight scene was so amazing. We had people coming back just to see the fight scene, the sword fight scene. It's just so much fun to do. I love sword and sorcery, but it's not just it's not just the swords that gets me there. It's the look of it. It's the horses. It's the different lifestyle. It's the magic. Now, this one doesn't have quite the magic that I love. It's not, I like Harry Potter. This is not Harry Potter. This is a different kind of magic. This is Dragonslayer, like Dragonslayer. Love the magic in Dragonslayer. Excuse me, if you haven't seen it, fantastic film. I believe it's Disney. Probably the same year, 81, 82. I love that movie. My favorite dragon movie of all time. Did I do a review of that? I feel like maybe I did a review of that already, but I've done so many, I can't remember if I did or didn't. But I love the magic in that, and I love the magic in this. Although there's very little magic in this, there's still that essence of magic. I love it. How well did the film capture the feel of the time period? Explain. Absolutely, very, very well. I think this film has an authenticity, and I have notes to it, an authenticity, a look that looks real and not like today. Well, I'll get to it. We'll get to it. I think they did a very, very good job, and I think it holds up to today. That's all I'll say. Anything else you'd like to say? I have plenty of notes. Now, this little film fact that they have at the bottom here that I always read with you. First, the story of the Kelly Gang, 1906, was the first feature-length movie. Oh, it was filmed in Melbourne, Australia. Whoa. The first feature-length film. It's called The Story of the Kelly Gang. Interesting. I didn't know that. That is a nice little tidbit of information that I would like to remember. 1906. Cool. Let's get into the notes because I have tons. The fucking music. My God. Okay, I've already said, love this music. I could listen to it all day. It's just amazing. It fits, it drives the film. It doesn't fit the film. There are some soundtracks where you're like, okay, it's nice, it works for the film. There are some soundtracks of, wow, that's a really good background to the film. There are some soundtracks that just define the film, like Jurassic Park, like Dances with Wolves. This soundtrack drives the film. It is the film. Why? Because there is so little dialogue. And so this soundtrack is amazing. It really is part of, too big a part of the film to not have. Dino De Laurentiis presents an Edward R. Pressman production. I was so weirded out when I looked up, like I said, I only put produced by, who is it produced by? The opening titles say Dino De Laurentiis presents an Edward R. Pressman production, and neither one of them are the producers. I was just a little like, what? Okay. I love the font of this film, the opening titles. I wish I had that font. I wish I could use that font. I love it. And in this film, the font has like a blue hue to it, like a steel. It looks like steel. Whereas in the second film, it doesn't look like that. It has more of a goldish, bronzish look. Whereas this film, it's meant to look like steel. Oh, you know what? I love this film so much. I forgot to. I have these little letter openers. That is so out of focus. This is Arnold's dad's his dad's sword, which this whole beginning scene is them making this sword. I also have a letter opener of the Atlantean sword. We'll talk about that later on. The Atlantean sword. I have the tattoos of those swords down my side, down the entire side of my body. Like I said, Conan the Barbarian is absolutely my favorite. I love Mako's narration in the beginning. I've talked about narration in other films. See Shawshank Redemption, see Dances with Wolves. And there are multiple types of narration. There's a narration that takes you out of the film, that interrupts the film on purpose because it wants you to hear something, it wants you to see something, and know that this is something different. Like Dances with Wolves, where he's reading the diary. Then there's a narration that absolutely is a part of the film, keeps you in the film. Shawshank Redemption, this is why, they want Morgan Freeman to narrate everything, because he was brilliant the first time he did it. This is I would say, this is a brilliant mix of the two, which would be a third option. It's a brilliant mix of the two, and it sets the tone for the movie. And Mako is brilliant. He does it so well. It's memorable because of that. Like I said, the entire opening scene, I love that they're making his father's sword. It's so brilliant. It's so gorgeously done, and the music is driving it, and we're seeing him make it. His William Smith, I mentioned earlier, love him in this film. He has no small parts. Very little screen time, but he has this brilliant monologue in the beginning that is so wonderful. And like I said, there is so little dialogue in this film that the dialogue that is there, a lot of it is so wonderful, and this is one of them. He does such a great job doing this monologue in the beginning. And I was like, I don't know him from anything else, do I? Like, who is William Smith? Do I know him from anything else? So I looked him up. And I was surprised to see that he did a show called BJ and the Bear, and a friend of mine was the lead in that. And so I asked my friend, hey, do you remember him? And he's like, yeah, I remember him. He was a cool guy. So that's the only thing that I know that he did aside from this film. And he does such a great job in this film. So I was happy to hear that my friend said, yeah, he was a really cool guy. The cinematography is amazing. And the props. So where they filmed, how they filmed, a lot of the lighting is a little more natural, makes it feel more real. It's not staged, so it doesn't look bad. It looks good. It looks natural and real, which also causes a lot of darkness and hard to film. But I like that. I like that we tried to stay true to the period and raw and authentic. So I love the cinematography and the props. Everything looks so, it feels and looks like you're there. The village and how it's made and how the little boy's fishing with the thing. Everything is just gorgeous. I love this movie. Franco Columbo. I said before, Franco Columbo is in this. He's the guy that jumps up. He's, all tatted up, the big guy. He didn't have a line. He just shows up in the beginning of the film. I love his mom's sword. Now, a lot of the swords in this are okay, great, fine. The two big swords are his dad's sword and the Atlantean sword, which I love. They're gorgeous, especially the Atlantean sword, gorgeous. But I also like his mom's sword. And if you pay attention, his mom's sword doesn't really have a hilt. She has that little diamond thing that would make for a hilt, but she doesn't have the flare out that protects your hand. It's really neat. I like that. I thought it was cool. It's a lesser known sword in the film, but really cool. James Earl Jones wears contacts, blue, but he also, later on in the film, he wears snake contacts, but he wears contacts in this film. And it's surprising that it doesn't bother me. Now, I've talked about earlier in other reviews, I believe, that contacts tend to bother the shit out of me. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Unless there's a purpose for it, like the snake. Okay, that makes sense. Why you have, snake contacts? Because he's turning into a snake. We'll get to that. Again, spoilers. But this never really bothered me because you don't see him really, really close. It's not too obvious that he's wearing contacts, but it is. But I never realized, I think the boy is also wearing contacts. Like, they don't show him up close a lot, except for that monologue with his dad in the beginning. And you kind of can and kind of can't see. Obviously, they're trying to make it look like Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger has blue eyes. So this kid, I believe, is wearing blue contacts. But it's really not that bad. It looks okay. And I tend to not like that thing. But anyway, James Earl Jones is just fucking amazing. I love him, not just in this, but in so many things. He absolutely embodies this character so much. I mean, Thulsa Doom is such a manipulative person and such a manipulative character, and James Earl Jones does such a great job. I love this whole beginning part. There are no words. Again, very, very music drives the movie, very little dialogue. He convinces the mother to submit with no words. That manipulation is... So here we see, maybe it's not magic, but it's at least something. And he's manipulative, and we know that. And we get that from this scene. I love that he makes her basically put her sword down. He turns away. We think he's going to walk away, but he doesn't. He does that swoop back and cuts her head off. I think it's brilliant. With the father's sword that they made, in the beginning. I think it's brilliant. Very well done. Very well filmed. The angles, brilliant. And I have to say, I love this shot. When the boy, when her head gets cut off, so she's falling, the boy still holding her hand is like, as he's letting go, is like being led because she's falling. I love this shot because they show the boy looking at his empty hand in shock and awe. And in the foreground, what's in focus is Thulsa Doom with his father's sword, slowly lifting it up, looking at his father's sword. Love that shot. That shot is so gorgeous. It's so perfect. I also have to say, I absolutely love the kid's look when he looks at Thulsa Doom. There's something in that look I absolutely love it. He does a great job. This kid is barely in it, and just that I don't think he even has a word in the entire film, but his presence does a really good job. He does a really good job. I think Milius probably worked with him a lot to get what he needed from him and got it. Like, he did a great job. There are such beautiful locations, the scenery. I know that a lot of this was filmed in Spain. It's just so beautiful. Like this, just watching a lot of the traveling shots, and you're just looking at the scenery going, God, it's just a beautiful place. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is top billed in this movie. Top billed. His name first. That's what that means. His name is first. Yet, we don't even see Arnold until 16 minutes in. And he doesn't have a line until 23:53. 23 minutes, 53 seconds in. So almost 24 minutes in is his first line, which is that crush your enemies, see them driven before you. That line. I was whoa! It's very rare to have somebody who is top billed and you don't see him for 16 minutes and he doesn't have a word until 20, almost 24 minutes. Insane. But I when I put my reviewer's hat on, I notice little things like that. Now, I knew that we don't see him for a while. We see his character, but not him for a while. But I never really realized he doesn't have a line for like 23 minutes. Like, it's, whoa, okay. Okay, anyway, he's a gladiator and he doesn't even know it. The look of him being a gladiator and the arena is like vastly different. 180-degree different, like vastly different than the film Gladiator with Russell Crowe, which is, a hugely, especially with the second one now, a hugely famous, popular film. Okay, so the look of Schwarzenegger, Conan, being a gladiator is completely different than the gladiator that we see in those films, in the Gladiator films. And so it's very hard to, it's easy to realize, or it's easy to miss. That's what I want to say. It's easy to miss the fact that he is a gladiator. Like, he was taken, his whole tribe was killed. He was sent away as a kid to, let's call it an orphanage, where he grew up. Finally, as an adult, he's the last one taken, and he's taken to be a gladiator. He's probably taken to be fodder. They don't think he's going to win. And he's now a gladiator, a slave that became a gladiator. I love that it all looks so raw and real. There's no big spectacle. It is so underground and seedy. It is not like Gladiator the film, where we see him, before he gets to Rome, we see him in the smaller fights, in the smaller arenas, but they still are big spectacles, and a lot of people are there, and it's during the day, all that. This is completely different. This is so underground, such a small, tight arena, which actually provides a very dangerous aspect of being a gladiator. How small the arena is, how they can't get out, and they're forced to combat in such a small location. Anyway, and it's at night. It's always at night. I don't think any of the fights are during the day. Oh, wait. You know what? Now that I think of it, maybe there was one or two where you see him getting ready or prepared, because it's a montage. So you see him getting ready or prepared during the day. So maybe one or two of them are during the day, but most of them are at night. So it's very like underground and seedy, and like not the spectacle you see in Gladiator. And he just defends himself, like especially the first time he fights. He just defends himself and then realizes how good he is. Now it is not technically a quote in the beginning of the Equalizer, but I love this saying. Apparently it's Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. I thought of that this time when he, becomes the gladiator, because up until now, he has been at the effect of other people and other things. Conan has, up until this point. And now to this point, he is at the effect of, but he finally finds that defending himself, he finds a power that he never knew he had. That fight and that ability to win, ability to kill, what they say, kill. Life, death, it did not matter anymore. He found his place in the world. The man who teaches him swordplay in this film, they take him away to learn how to fight with a sword. That man who taught him to fight in the film actually is the one that taught him to fight in real life, taught him to use the sword in real life. He was the prop master. He was the sword master. He was the one that taught them how to use the sword. So if you watch the film, that's the actual guy that taught them. I find this so awkward, and I'm not sure if I realized this as a kid. I'm not sure if I found it. I probably did find it just as awkward as a kid, that they give him a woman to have sex with, and then they watch him. Like, they're all watching, and I'm like, that's kind of awkward, and okay, a bunch of voyeurs. Nothing wrong with that. It's not my thing, and I just find it funny that I was like, what? Okay. Arnold trimmed down. They wanted him to trim down from his size. So if you watch him in Stay Hungry, he's huge because he plays a bodybuilder in Stay Hungry. And Stay Hungry was not long after, it was before he quit bodybuilding. So he was still like huge. I think Stay Hungry was 1970, and he competed until 1974, 1975. 1975 was the last competition. Well, then he came back in the 80s. Anyway, he was still huge in Stay Hungry, okay? Huge, like bodybuilder size. They needed him and told him he needed to trim down if he wanted to play this, because we can't have a Conan that looks like he's working out in a modern gym. So he trimmed down, and still, he's freaking huge in this film. It's just like, jeez. Okay, the wolf chase in the beginning. So from what I heard, that's the first scene that they filmed. One of the first scenes that they filmed. Arnold is so big and so massive, like I just said, that they didn't have stunt doubles for him. They just didn't. They couldn't. So he had to do his own stunts. So this thing, when the wolves are running after him, and he goes up on the rocks and he, throws his thing down. He like tried to with his, like, I don't know what it is, fur or whatever, and he hits the wolf or whatever. You barely see it in the film because they kind of cut it and caught it from a different angle instead. Because when he first did that, one of the wolves grabbed onto it and pulled him down, and he fell and cut himself really bad, I think in the back of the neck. If you watch like the making of, they have a scene where he's just like screaming when he falls down, "This son of a bitch," or something like that. He actually did that stunt and hurt himself pretty bad. Oh, I already said that. I love it when he goes underground and builds that fire. I love this whole... Hold on. I thought I had a note here. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I do. I love this whole underground scene. I think it's brilliant. Wow, it like makes me cringe every time when he falls down, because I'm like, oh, he had to do his own stunts, and I feel like, did he hurt himself, or is that all styrofoam? I hope that's all styrofoam, because I'm like, the styrofoam rocks, but I feel like maybe it's not. He might have had to fall down rocks. But anyway, I love this whole underground scene. I love the look of it. He builds that fire. I love that he's dripping wet. It's a very good look for the scene. It works really, really well. The skeletons along the wall, everything is just so, ancient and rotted away. Like I said, he is so huge. When he is down and he finally has the fire and he has the light and he's looking up, he's got his arms like this. He's literally looking up like this. And his arms are like thighs. They're huge in that scene. They are bigger than his head. You're just like, what? Anyway, I was just like, it's one of those times where Arnold just is, parts of his body are just so massive, it's incomprehensible. You're just like, what? But get back to the scene. Love the discovery of the sword. I love that it's like wrapped in all like all kinds of rust, and the discoloration of it. The brass turns green, I guess, and that green whatever all over it. I love that look of it. I love when he breaks it. I love the cobwebs on it and how they float in the wind. It's so brilliant. I love the flickering. Again, the lighting is brilliant because we're not doing a whole bunch of studio lighting. We are trying to let, as much as possible, we're trying to let it look like he's being lit by his fire that he built. And so a lot of this is dark. So you don't want to watch it when you have a lot of light around you. You want to watch it in a dark environment so you can see, so you can see everything, because it is a very dark... I talk a lot and then I get a lot of burps because I'm talking and air is going in and out. Anyway, I just love the look of it, that the lighting is trying to be as real as a campfire can be and trying to show enough of what's going on. I love that when he breaks the rust off of it, and it's not quite gorgeous, but it's a better blade. It's a really good blade, a sturdy blade. And I love that the skeleton bows to him. It must have been a king. He's on a throne. I love that the skeleton bows to him, and Conan pays respect. He pays respect to him. It's shot really, really, really well. I love it. Cobwebs on the sword. I love that. I don't think I realized as a kid that this woman he meets is a witch. Like, she's a witch. I don't think as a kid I realized that. I think it into my teens or maybe adulthood, I finally realized this is a witch that that he sees. Zamora, when she tells him, okay, so when she says there's a price, barbarian, and then they're having sex, and I'm like, well, she made it sound like there was a horrible price, but he's like, sex? Okay. I guess most straight guys would be like, oh, that's not a price, that's a benefit. I just thought that was interesting when I watch it with my reviewer's hat. I'm like, okay, that's okay. When she says Zamora, I thought so. This film is so much a part of who I am, and I've seen it so many times. I love it so much that one time I was taking a motorcycle trip. I took my Harley up to Washington from California, from LA up to the middle of Washington in 2019. And at one point I stopped in Northern California, and I just happened to stop for gas and wanted to let my friend know where I was. And I was looking at the map like, where am I? I was literally in a town called Zamora. And I had to screen cap it and go, oh my God, I'm in Zamora. It was the coolest thing. You know, I wonder if this is ridiculous, but I'm going to do it anyway. Watch. Zamora. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, I'm in the she says, can you see that? You can't see it, huh? Oh no. Oh, Zamora. Oh, you can't really see it. Okay, there's too much light on the camera. Anyway, I was in Zamora, and it was really cool. I was like, oh my God. And right away I knew, Conan. Oh my God. Dinner for Wolves. I love Subotai. Subotai's great. He's fantastic. He has some fun lines. I love when they talk about their gods and Subotai's like, my God is the everlasting sky. Your God lives underneath him. And that look that Conan gives him, like, wait a minute. There's some good stuff that happens. Arnold does a really, really, really good job as an actor. If he wasn't a good actor, and I'm not saying great, I'm saying good. If he wasn't a good actor, he never would have succeeded in film. He succeeded in film because he was a good actor, and he was a presence too. So you have to give credit to him, even though most people might not. As an actor, he does such a great job in this film. I have more notes later on. He carries it with a very limited dialogue in this film. He has movements and looks and attitude that carries this film and makes it iconic and makes it wonderful to watch. He's not one of these actors where I'm just like, oh my God, like, can you please just stop? No, he's actually really good. Really good. The music and the running scenes, again, I mean, I could listen to it all day long. It's just so fantastic. Does it always smell like this? How does the wind ever get in here? I love a lot of the lines. Like I said, there are so few lines that the lines that they do have are wonderful. The bond of friendship between them is there are moments in this film where they get things across with the music and what you're seeing. You don't need dialogue to make it happen. And like the beginning, when Thulsa Doom manipulates her and makes her drop her sword, there is no dialogue. And yet beautifully they get the point across. This too. This quick few sequences where they're traveling. Again, the scenery is gorgeous. But these quick scenes where they're traveling, Subotai and Conan, you realize that the bond of friendship between them has been solidified so strong between the two of them, just by these few scenes, and almost zero dialogue, almost no dialogue. Black Stygian, the best, or Black Lotus, Stygian, the best. This little guy that sells them that and tells them about the snakes, the snake called the set it. I forget how he says it. What a great, short role. He does such a great job. It's memorable to me. I love it when Arnold punches the camel. You're too big to be a thief. I love that part every time. I know it's horrible, but I think it's hilarious. Like, what? You're too big to be a thief. It's so fun. Oh, Sandal Bergman. She's not just because I met her, but before I met her, I was like, she is so great. She is so great in this film. She does such a wonderful job. Two fools that laugh at death. Do you know what horrors lie beyond that wall? She's such a great... I mean, she won awards for it. She won a Saturn Award for it. She won a Golden Globe for it. She does such a great job in this film. You cannot write any of the acting off. The acting is great, and not just by the people you know, like James Earl Jones, and things like that. And Arnold, you've got to look at the people that you probably don't know, like Sandal Bergman, who is just amazing in this film. Do you want to live forever? Love that line. I think they steal it and they put it in Red Sonja. I think the little kid uses it. She says it multiple times here and it embodies who she is. And she knows it. I think Sandal Bergman knows it. And that's what lent to a great performance by hers. Because that line captures the essence of Valeria. Like, beautifully. Do you want to live forever? The feeding ritual is such an interesting thing. I don't think I realized it. Again, I don't think... There's a lot of things I didn't realize until I grew up and got into the teenage years and realized what they're doing. This woman, this whole procession, this whole thing is about feeding this woman to the snake. Now, I can imagine that she's probably a virgin. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. They didn't say it, but I could imagine that she probably is. They're all dressed in white, so I'm thinking she probably is a virgin. She strips down and she sacrifices herself. Just like, when you realize what's going on, it's beautifully done. You're just like, whoa. I mean, it's fucked up, but it's beautifully done. The eye of the snake. Wait. Oh, this snake. Yes, this snake is fake. I get it. But it's still cool. There are certain parts of it where you're just like, oh my God, that is horribly fake. But still, very well done. And I think I said this before. I think when I did the review of The Thing, practical and physical special effects looks real because it is real. To me, computer looks more fake than this, in my opinion. So I appreciate that they didn't have computer animation then, so they couldn't have done it. But if they did this film today, they most certainly would do computer, and it would just look too fake for me. This looks so... It is fake. You can tell it's fake, but still there's something there. There's something there to grab onto, to interact with physically, and it shows. The eye of the serpent is beautiful. I love where it's sitting at in that little holder or whatever, and he pulls it out. It's really cool. I love when he turns and he sees that symbol that he's been looking for, and it's jade, and it's like on a necklace, or it's on a rope or whatever. Maybe not a necklace because it's too big, but he uses it as a necklace later on. But it's on that hanging rope, but it's like jade. It's beautiful. I love that he sees it, he recognizes it. I mean, that's what he's been looking for. I don't need the flashback, but maybe as a kid, maybe the first time you see it, the first couple times you see it, maybe you do need that flashback. Maybe that flashback is necessary. But having seen it so many times, I'm like, I don't really need that flashback. Let's just move on. But, like I said, maybe it's necessary. Unfortunately, as much as I love this film, that doesn't mean you don't find errors. That doesn't mean you don't find problems. And just because you find errors and problems doesn't mean it negates the fact that it's such a fucking wonderful, amazing film. So it's very unfortunate that you see the pulley strings when they're going up, when they're climbing up, especially her when she, ties that guard and then kills the guard, ties him, throws him, and uses it as like a way to pull her up because it's on a pulley system. You see the thin black rope that is attached to her that is actually pulling her, not the rope that she's holding on to. So it's a little it's unfortunate, but it happens. You see, when you watch Superman 3, you see the strings. It just happens. There are certain things that sometimes you forget. You You make mistakes and it's fine. It doesn't mean this is not an Academy Award-winning film. You know, even if it was an Academy Award-winning film, I'm sure you could probably find mistakes. It happens all the time. The music is so beautiful. Oh, just like the love theme here, this gorgeous love theme. So my ex-husband told me that he used to play an oboe, which is a not very popular instrument to play. And he said a very specific sound. And so anytime there was an oboe or in a soundtrack, he would know it right away because he's like, it's a very specific sound and I used to play it all the time. So he told me that this is an oboe they use in the love theme. And so now every time I listen to it, I hear, oh, that's the oboe. That's the oboe. Okay, that's the oboe. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Basil Polidoris, man, just like, wow, what an amazing soundtrack. Thank you. Like, wow. Wonderful love scene. Another love scene that I actually like. There's not like a whole lot of sex, but there's more to the love scene than just the sex, which is why I like it. I mean, I don't care if there's female nudity. I'm not one of those people that's like, ugh, female nudity. If there's too much female nudity, maybe. But this is not, it's not like I shy away from that. What I don't like about a lot of them is that I don't feel connected to it. And a lot of times I don't feel like it's necessary. This feels right. It feels necessary. It's done very, very well because there's more to it than just, there's more to the love making than the sex. And if you watch the scene, there's more to it than that. And it's beautifully montaged very, very well. I love it. It's done very, very well. Success can test one's mettle as easily as the strongest adversary. I really like that they put that idea in there. It's a very smart idea, not something that you would need to put in a film like this, but I like that they did. And, you know, Arnold, like, his face in the soup, and very well done. I like that. Max von Sydow. The lions ate him. Okay, so I think I heard or read in an interview that Arnold did that he said Max von Sydow was one of the first true amazing actors he ever worked with. And he was blown away by his acting ability in this when he filmed this scene with Max von Sydow. I think Max is brilliant in this. I think he is brilliant, period. He does such a great job. If you watch Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close, which I have to review because it's gorgeous fucking film, but Max von Sydow gives a completely 100% silent performance, and it is brilliant. And that really, just like, if you didn't think he was good before, you have no question that he's brilliant. Just watching that film, and his performance is just amazing. He does such a great job. But I love him in this film. Every second that he is on screen is brilliant. Every line out of his mouth is wonderful. His persona, the character that he plays, everything. He's just wonderful. Again, no small parts. He has very short screen time, very limited lines, but what a powerful and memorable performance. Wonderful. There comes a time, thief, when the jewels cease to sparkle, when the gold loses its luster, and the throne room becomes a prison, and all that's left is a father's love for his child. Wonderful line. That's his last line. Wonderful line. And how important, because here Conan, yes, Conan is after this snake cult. Now we've discovered who the snake cult is, Set. Now here's a quest. My daughter has been taken over by them. Now Conan has a connection, family. His entire family was destroyed. He's by Thulsa Doom. He's on a quest for vengeance, revenge. And here Osric, king, is willing to give everything, anything up Because all that is important is his love for her, his daughter. And he doesn't care about anything else. And so here's this connection that I think Conan longs for, because he doesn't have that. And he hasn't had that since he was a little kid. And seeing that pure love and that pureness, feeling from King Osric, I think that's what compels Conan to drop everything, including his love for Valeria. Drop everything, and this is where I have to be. This is what I have to do. This is whether you go with me or not. This is what I have to do. This is a long one. But before I ever met Sandal Bergman, like I said, I love this film. Before I ever met her, I knew she had some fantastic lines that spoke to me and spoke to my soul. When I got married, part of my vows was her line in this film. Her speech, her monologue in this film. And it's here. I've never had so much as now. All my life I've been alone. Many times I've faced my death with no one to know. I would look in the huts and the tents of others and see figures holding each other in the deepest dark, and I would always pass by. You and I, we have warmth. That's so hard to find in this world. Please, let someone else pass by in the night. Let us take the world by the throat and make it give us what we desire. Now, I'm not trying to perform that. I'm just trying to say that's her line. She does it brilliantly. Brilliantly. This is one of the reasons why she won multiple awards, and deservingly. Shocked that she wasn't nominated for something more. But, the Academy never really looks at films like this, which is sad, because sometimes you can have some brilliant performances, like I said in my review of The Terminator. Sometimes you can have some brilliant performances that are totally skipped because you're not taking it seriously. And Michael Behan in The Terminator is fucking amazing. Again, watch my review. I talk about it through the whole thing. He is Academy Award winning, Academy Award at least nominate worthy. And they just don't take films like that seriously, and they should. And this is another one. Sandal Bergman gives such a great performance. I'm shocked that she didn't get some recognition. Now, I don't know everything that was nominated that year, so I don't know. I just know this kind of film doesn't get recognized by the Academy, and that's sad. That's sad. Again, here's the love theme. I absolutely love it. It's so well done. He tweaks it a little bit for this part, but it's beautiful. It's wonderful. Of course he leaves. You know he's going to go. You know Conan is he's not going to miss this opportunity. He's going to go. The two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And he is, he finds his path, and when he finds his path, he follows it relentlessly. It's beautiful. Time enough for the earth in the grave. This is the first film that I've heard that sentiment. Of course, I hear it later. I'll get all the sleep I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead. It's been in other films, that sentiment. This is the first time I remember hearing it and really believing it. I love Mako. He is so perfect. Now, in this film, they call him the Wizard. In the second film, they name him. He's Akiro. So I know him as Akiro because I used to watch the second film way before I watched the first one. I always thought the second one was the first one, but it's not. The Destroyer is not the first one. It's the second one. So when I watch this movie and everybody calls him the Wizard, I'm like, yeah, but his name is Akiro. They didn't name him until the second one, okay? And that's fine. He's brilliant. And I remember when he did, I haven't seen it in years, probably decades. I haven't seen it in decades. I remember when he did Pearl Harbor, and I remember being blown away by his performance. Like, fuck, he was great. And loving that he was in it because I knew him from other things. I think he's wonderful in this. I mean, in other things like, In Pacific Heights, he's passable. Anybody could have done that. He did a good job. There was nothing great about his performance. This, he's fantastic. He's fun and wonderful in the second one, Destroyer. He's amazing in Pearl Harbor. Amazing. Fucking amazing. Anyway, back to Conan the Barbarian. That's what we're reviewing. When I was younger, I didn't realize they were next to the ocean. I don't know how I missed that, but they are literally on the ocean. And that's cool. I love that. Warrior, what are the flowers for? A girl. I used to laugh all the time at that because that's not true. Can we talk over there where the others do not see? Why, yes, brother. That look and that feel, I'm like, is that guy gay? Like, I feel like that guy's meant to be gay. Like, he's kind of a gay character, and he's going over there with Conan to hopefully get a little something, but Conan's got his own idea about what he needs. His fucking robe. Again, I have this note. Everything looks so real. It looks like we're in that world. I don't feel like I'm on a set. A lot of times in Gladiator, Ridley Scott, a lot of times in Gladiator, I'm like, we're on a set. We're on a set. I feel it. It looks like it. It's fine. And several times there's a lot of computer, and you're like, oh, that's computer animated. That's computer animated. This film never feels like I'm on a set. The second one does. There's several times in Destroyer where I'm like, okay, we're on a set. This film never, not 1 second in this film do I feel like we're on a set. Never. Not for me. And never does it look, there's no computer. And like I said a couple of times, yes, the special effects are a little fake with that big the snake, but for the most part, very practical, very done, very well, and looks like we're there. That's one of the reasons why I love this film. It looks like we're there. How many fucking background actors? Jesus. Now, I think I read somewhere once that the film Cleopatra had absolutely the most background actors of all film all time. Now, I don't know. I've never watched Cleopatra, so I don't know. But when I watch this film and there's scenes of the progression up to Mount Doom, and you're like, fuck, there are so many people, and it's not computer. Those are real people. They have to be because they didn't have computer animation then. So it is literally, it's not Gladiator. I keep going back to Gladiator. It's not Gladiator where we have a bunch of computer animated people in the stands, because it's all like most of it, if not all of it, is all computer. The same thing with, more modern. If you watch Dune and the second part 2, Dune Part 2. I don't think it's the first one. It's the second one where they show the arena where Fade is fighting. That's all computer. Those people are all computer. There's nobody really there. Those people are real. There are hundreds, if not 1,000 or more people in that procession going up to the Mount Doom. And it's like, Jesus, that's a lot of background people. I love that he uses this jade symbol as like a shield. The snake symbol. He has it around his neck. Like I said, it's not really a necklace. It's too big. But for Arnold, it's really not that big. Okay, so what I noticed this time around, I probably did notice it before, but since I have my reviewer hat on, I noticed to talk about. He is wearing that symbol that he got in the beginning of the film. That circle with all those cuts in it. Kind of like a bicycle spoke tire, kind of looking like that. Not quite. But he has that symbol, and he's always worn that symbol because it's sort of part of what he knows growing up. So he still has that on. And so several people, as he's walking the progression, several people wonder, what is that? Because they talk about Doom's children and the priests talk about emptiness, finding emptiness. So you can't have anything self. It has to be all empty. And for him to have that symbol around his neck that has nothing to do with Doom, Thulsa Doom, several people question that. You see it. Several people question, like, what's the thing, or stopping him, kind of like, that doesn't look right. That should not be there. Emptiness means you would have nothing. So he uses this jade symbol that he found at when he got the eye of the serpent, when he killed that giant snake, and he uses it kind of like a shield. He shows several people, like, I'm good. I'm part of the cult, even though he still has that necklace on. Is it here? No, this is actually a picture from the second film, honestly, because he doesn't ever. I don't think he ever wears this in Barbarian. He wears it in Destroyer. Anyway, I like that. It's how he gets caught, that symbol, because somebody recognizes it, takes it away from him, shows it to Rexor and I don't want to get his name wrong. Rexor and Thorgrim. Is it Thorgrim? It's a shame. It's a shame that IMDb does not have him on top actors. He doesn't say anything, but he's like one of the most important characters. The three, Thulsa Doom, Rexor, and I think it's Thorgrim. Fuck you, IMDb. IMDb fail. He's like one of the last people to be mentioned. That's sad. Sven Ole Thorsen. He should be one of the top characters, because he is one of the top characters. Anyway, it's them three: Thulsa Doom, Rexor, and Thorgrim. And I thought it was Thorgrim. I just didn't want to say it wrong. Anyway, Thorgrim takes it from him, or Thorgrim. They take it to Thorgrim. They take the symbol from Conan, the jade thing, and he gives it to Rexor and Thorgrim, and then that's when, they know that he's the one that killed the serpent, and then they take him away. James Earl Jones, love. Again, James Earl Jones is amazing. Sven, again, like I said before, Sven, the guy who plays Thorgrim, was one of Arnold's best friends. I think he was one of his best men at his wedding. He's in a bunch of Arnold films. Speaking of Gladiator, he is in Gladiator. He's the one that comes out of retirement with the metal helmet or whatever. I forget his name in the Gladiator. He loses, but he fought for that too. I think I said that in my review of Gladiator. Like, he fought to get that role, and he got it. He was perfect. He's perfect for it. But he's in this film. He's one of those three. He's Thorgrim. It must have been when I was younger. I can't do a James Earl Jones. I wish I would, because he has such a great voice. There was a time, boy, when steel meant more to me than gold or jewels. Yeah. Steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. And then when he calls for that girl, especially when I've been talking so high so long I can't do the low. And then he calls to that girl and she jumps and he says, "That is strength, boy. That is power." And I always think, I can't help it, I always think when he says that is strength, boy. That is power. I think that's dead. I can't help it every time I watch this film. Every time when he says that, I hear, like, that's dead. Okay, moving on. Crucify him. Again, I watched this. When you watch cartoons, a lot of shit goes over your head. A lot of the adult shit goes over your head. When you're a little kid watching cartoons, adult stuff goes over your head. So, there was a lot of stuff when I watched this movie as a kid. Again, I was probably 8 or 10. When I watched this movie, I probably didn't see this movie until I was like 12 or 13. With the first one, definitely. But anyway, there was a lot of stuff that went over my head I didn't quite get. And what I didn't get is that Conan dies. He says, "Crucify him." And he puts him on that thing and he's like struggling, and the vulture, which I heard was a real dead vulture. A real dead vulture that he put in his mouth, and like literally he did that scene and they had to like flush his mouth with antiseptics and shit because it was real. Anyway, when he's struggling and dying and he sees Subutai coming and he thinks it's a hallucination, because once he sees Subutai goes down, he doesn't see him, so he thinks it's a hallucination, but then Subutai does come. He dies. And I guess as a kid, I didn't realize, I mean, Arnold was huge to me, and I was like, how could they kill Arnold in a movie? They just can't. I get that he dies in Terminator, but he was the bad guy. But in this, he's the good guy. They can't kill him. So I always thought he, passed out. And Subutai takes him, and then they nurse him back to health. That's what I always thought. Now, we're going to get into this other note. Let's get into the other note, because I have something to say that's along the same thing. So I didn't understand that he had died. Now, when I watched this film, it was recorded on a VHS. You're talking about 1980s. My dad recorded this off of television on a VHS. So this is not a VHS he bought at the store. This is recorded, okay? So the quality was not the best. I don't have it now, but if I were to put it in, I could definitely tell the difference of the quality, I'm sure. So, in this next scene, do the gods owe you any favors? Okay. I thought that they were going to heal him. Because he passed out, he's almost dead, let's nurse him back to health. But what this is Akiro brings him back to life with his spells. And I never saw, because the recording was poor quality and not as clear, and you're talking about the 80s, I never saw those demons that come to get him. When you watch it now in high definition Blu-ray, you see those demons clearly grabbing him and around her, Valeria, and there are demons there. And I never saw that before. I always thought it was just the wind and the storm raising his body. She's trying to keep him down. She's trying to keep him there. They're trying to heal him. I never realized that these demons are literally trying to take him away. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. And I wish that you could have seen it back then. I wish I would have known that back then, I guess. Maybe people did see it. Maybe people saw it in the theater and saw it clearly that those were demons trying to take him away. I didn't. The first time I saw it was a recording from a TV broadcast of this, on VHS. If you were dead and still, if I were dead and you still fighting for life, I'd come back from the darkness, from the pit of hell, and fight at your side. Love that line because it happens. I love that line. Foreshadow. Love it. It's such a great sentiment, Valeria. It shows the bond between the two. And you know that the bond is so great that in the second one, all he can think about is Valeria. The whole driving force of the second one is that he's promised that this woman is going to bring Valeria back to life. And he believes it. Anyway, such a gorgeous sentiment. I love it. Again, the music drives the film. So here we are, great music again. That when he wakes up, when he comes back to life, I love this scene. When he comes back to life, and they have this gorgeous shot of Conan practicing with the sword again, with that blue background, the sea is in the background, the ocean's in the background, and he's practicing, and the wind is just blowing him really well. I don't know if that's fake or if that's real. Did they put a fan up to make it look like that, or was it real? All I know is it's beautifully done, beautiful shot. There's one or two shots there that I wish I could freeze frame and put on a poster. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love that scene when he's sword playing there and trying to remember, and when he looks at his hand and is trying to acclimate to being alive again. And I never got that as a kid. Like I said, I didn't realize he had died. Now that I know that he dies, I love watching that scene because he's trying to remember what it's like being alive. He must have residual memory of what it was to be dead and what it was to be gone. I think I've mentioned before, a friend of mine does a YouTube channel of people who have passed and come back or had a near-death experience. And so you watch this with that in mind, and you realize that Conan came back from death. He was brought back. He was dead for hours, half a day, probably half a day, maybe more, and he was brought back by Mako. And so he must have that residual of thought, of memories of where he was and what he was doing when he wasn't here physically. And now here he is back, and he's trying to remember who he is, who Conan is. I love the campfire scene right after that when they're planning. And he's like, only the girl. We kill Thulsa Doom another day, agreed? Conan. The look that Conan gives him, Conan's sharpening his sword. Conan, we killed Thulsa Doom another day, right? The look that he gives him, and then he continues to sharpen his sword. Okay, that look would rival Clint Eastwood any day of the week. Clint Eastwood is known for having a look, for having this steel about him. He even talks about it in The Line of Fire. A good glare is as good as a weapon, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he says. A good glare is as effective as a gun, I think he says. That might be the line. A good glare is as effective as... And then he and Rousseau have... Clint Eastwood and Rousseau have this stare contest. This glare contest. And he wins. Anyway, this look from Conan by Arnold is would rival Clint Eastwood on any day. This look he gives him and then continues to sharpen his sword. I love this little nod he gives Akiro, the wizard, as he leaves. It's his thank you. And I don't think the wizard acknowledges it, but he absolutely acknowledges it and then rides on. I love the war paint. Okay, that's why I have my little Funko here. The war paint. I love... Oh, the light. I love it. This guy sits in my gym. I also have another one where he's covered in blood. Blood spatter. It's a special edition where he's blood spattered. I think they call it blood spattered or whatever. I have several Conan Funko Pops. Like I said, Conan's my favorite. Love the war paint. I love when they do the war paint. The bodies in the kitchen. Again, I don't think I paid attention enough as a kid. It wasn't until I was a teenager, probably mid or late teens, where I realized that there are dead bodies all over the kitchen as they're going in. That whole scene where it's all red and they're going through the kitchen, there are dead bodies disemboweled coming down, bringing... It's like pieces of human bodies everywhere. And I guess I never really caught that when I was a kid. I absolutely caught it later on when they're stirring the soup and she gets a bowl of soup and she's gnawing on the hand. And absolutely, I get it. Whoa, they're eating people. I used to have I wish... When I moved to Texas, I went to Texas for a couple of years during the recession of 08, 09. And then I came back to Los Angeles. When I came back to Los Angeles, I lost a lot of stuff because I couldn't afford to bring it all with me. One of the things I remember losing was this beautiful statue, I've got up here, Jack, I've got all over the place, I got a Spider-Man up here, kind of like the Funko Pops, but before Funko Pop. I had this beautiful statue, you can't call it a toy, it's a figurine of Darkness. Gorgeous. If you watch my review of Legend, I talk about the beautiful scene when he first shows up and the wind blows his cape or whatnot. The statue had that cape flowing and it was just gorgeous, and his huge horns and blah blah blah. That got lost. One of the things that got lost, speaking of Conan the Barbarian, I had a same thing. It was like a statue. It was like a set piece because I had part of the stairs and part of the columns, the soup bowl, and spills of the soup all over the place, and Conan in the war paint with the sword. It was a gorgeous little piece. Yes, it was plastic, hard plastic, but very well done. Like very intricate, very detailed, wonderful. And I lost that, and God, I wish I could get that back because it was such a cool. It was so cool. Anyway, it sucks that I lost that, but I love this scene. I didn't realize until I was older that there's an orgy going on in that room. It's not as clear as we would do today. It's a little more subtle, but it's absolutely an orgy going on. I love when... Okay, I have so many notes and they all are part of the same scene. Thulsa Doom slowly in this scene, he knows something's up and he slowly turns into a snake. So like I said, he has these blue contacts on. They show him at a couple, which is one of the few times where I like these cuts. Cut. Okay? It makes sense. So it's one of the few times where it doesn't feel awkward. They have him from here, then they cut real quick to here, then they cut here, and then they cut like here, I think, and then he's got, so I think it's blue contact, blue, and then snake. So they did like 3, I think it's 3 and then 4. The 4th cut, you have snake contacts in. So, and then, again, it looks a little fake, but it's practical. He starts to pull out. And then you know it's not really James Earl Jones. But then he turns into a snake. Now, the first scene of this snake, which is beautiful, like this gray, dark gray, light gray, white snake, gold eyes, and it moves, it turns. That one's not real. But after that, there is a real snake. You can tell by the way its tongue is moving. There's a real snake, and it's fucking huge. Now, I heard that was the largest snake they've ever used in film to date. Now, later on in the film, I think Anaconda, they actually used a live snake that was larger than that one, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. But Conan, to date, if I remember correctly, that's the largest live snake they've ever used in film. And you can see the first time it's orange instead of gray and white. The first time it's orange, it's a real snake. You can tell by the way its tongue moves. And you can see it right next to the princess, and its head is as big as the fucking princess's head. I mean, it's huge. That's a real snake. And then it slowly slithers away. It goes away. This Thulsa Doom is for all his bravado, he's a coward. For all his bravado, he's a coward. He knows something's up. He turns into a snake to escape. Conan repositioning his sword. So he goes in with the sword here. And he repositions it so it's down by his side like you would put a gun. I love that. I love the idea of that. I love that they thought to do that. It's great. It's wonderful. And then he draws his sword. Now, I've seen this movie so many times, again, that I've memorized that the first kill is by Subotai, the second and third kill are by Valeria, and it's the 4th kill where Conan kills, because I'm waiting for it. You're like, you know, this is just going to be, it's leading up, the music is building up, here's going to be the first huge action sequence, we know it, and we're waiting for Conan to get into the action. So I always remembered I had to wait 3. He gets the 4th. I always had to wait 3. Subotai gets 1, the guy with the soup. Then Valeria gets 2 guards, and then Conan gets in there. And it's like, yes! Such a badass scene. Now, when you talk, a lot of people love these badass scenes. Like 90% of the John Wick 3, 4, 5, whatever, are all just action, like no story. The first one is amazing. Fantastic story. Love it. Great action. The other ones are just like action. Who cares about the story? Especially like the 3rd and 4th one. It's just like, Jesus, we're just watching, 90 minutes of action and 10 minutes of story. Anyway, A lot of people love that action. A lot of people get off on that action. Wonderful, fantastic. Watch it all day long. This is my kind of... I love the sword and sorcery action. Like a mace, you know, a club, a sword, a dagger, an axe. Oh, I love these sequences. I wish they were longer. Just this is just total 1980 1980s badass action scene. Like, yeah. Love this scene. I love this scene. And it all looks, well, okay. Yes, I have to admit, like I said before, a lot of times you find mistakes and you're like, okay, even though it's a great movie, it doesn't hinder the fact that it's still a great movie. You can see a couple of times where the sword is nowhere near the person and you're like, or the blood pack blows up after the sword swipe and you're like, and you can see the blood pack, or the guy's got, you can see him throw blood over his shoulder instead of it actually cutting and being blood. He's like got blood in his hand and he throws it over his shoulder and yes, there are parts of that where you're like, oh, because we're trying to be practical, because we're not trying to use computer like, you know, the Expendables, which every bullet hole was a computer, and you can see it's computer. It's not practical. Excuse me. This is trying to be as practical as possible, and so if you shoot it the wrong way, cut it the wrong way, look the wrong way, then it looks fake. You can see it's fake. You see the guy is throwing blood over his shoulder, you know? So sometimes, yes, you have to accept, if you're going to be practical, you're going to get sometimes a shot that doesn't look right. But that's the sacrifice you make. And I would rather it be this, practical looking, and blood, like liquid on the guy, behaving like liquid, instead of computer on the guy trying to behave like liquid, because computer can't behave like liquid. Liquid is random. Absolutely, 100%. That's chaos theory. That's what, you know, Malcolm was trying to talk about in Jurassic Park. The water is never going to go the same way no matter what you do. So liquid is random, whereas computer needs to know where you're going. So computer is not random. You have to tell it where to go. So they can try as hard as they want to make liquid look right in a computer, and they never will. It never will. Same thing with fire. They're getting better. They're getting much better. This is why, you know, Ron Howard wanted actual fire in Backdraft, because he said you can't, at the time especially, you couldn't make fire look real. You can't. You watch, you know, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and you see that fire, and they spent more money on that practical effect. That's why that film was so expensive to make, is because of that scene with the fire. And it looks great, but it doesn't quite look real. So, you know, Backdraft, Ron Howard wanted real flame, because you can't, computer's not going to make it look the way it needs to look, and he needed it to look real for Backdraft. Here, I would rather see liquid, as fake as it looks. I would rather see blood, liquid, look real on a person than computer blood that just looks horribly fake. I went off on a whole huge tangent there, but I appreciate that everything looks so real in this film, because it is real, even though it's make-believe real. Anyway, the music, the Conan theme. Okay, so the sword play. Like I said, I have all these tiny little notes. It's all in a part of the same scene. The sword play. So I have a sister. Had a sister who passed away, 15 years old. I was 8. Her favorite scene in Conan the Destroyer, her favorite character was Grace Jones's character. Right now I can't... Zula. I almost couldn't remember her name. Zula. Grace Jones's character. There's a point where after they get the jewel, they get attacked by the Queen's guards. And there's this point where Zula kills one of the guards and goes, ha! That was, from what my mom says, because I don't remember, because I was 6 when she died. 6? I think I was 6 or 8 when she died. I don't remember, but my mom told me that was my sister's favorite part of that film. Now, my favorite part, not because of my sister, because I didn't know this until way later, but my favorite part of that film is literally seconds later when Arnold on the horse fights the other guy. The whole sword fight scene, and the other guy happens to be Sven Oleg Thorsen in a helmet, so you don't recognize him from the first film, but it is Sven. He takes the princess Jenna. He takes the princess. Conan confronts him. He drops the princess. They fight first back and forth on the horses. Then they come off the horses and have this sword fight scene. And that's the big famous, like, Arnold straight down the center. Arnold with that everybody tries to duplicate now. But what you don't realize is those elements of that fight scene are in this film, are in the first one. This film puts it on display, puts it all in one succinct scene on display right in front of your face. Whereas this film does not. It's within this fight scene. Pay attention, because every part of that fight scene is in this fight scene. Okay? The back and forth, he does it. The singular shot, he does it. The holding his hand out, he does all of that. He does all of that in this scene. You just have to pick it out and go, whoa, they shot it from a different angle. It wasn't on display. It wasn't in your face. The second film was completely different. It was very comic bookity. It was very adventure, fantastical. It was less realistic, like this one tried to be real. That one was trying to be entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're just completely different films. But every element of that amazing fight scene, which is my favorite scene in Destroyer, is in Barbarian. In this scene, if you watch it, all those elements are in that scene. This makes it look amazing and real and gorgeous. The look is just so gorgeous. It's so they, in the beginning of this fight scene, before they kill anyone, Valeria and Subotai are setting the drapes on fire. So they're setting shit on fire. So there's smoke in the air. There's smoke. We're not trying to make effect. We made it real. We set shit on fire to make it real so we can pump smoke in the air and have it look like that. Everything looks practical and real. It doesn't look, I know that it's choreographed mentally. I absolutely know it. The candles look real. The stavishers looks real. When Conan walks through and there's smoke and there's shit on fire in the background. You can see stuff on fire in the background. Everything looks real. It's so practically done. It feels authentic, and I love it. I love it. It doesn't look like a film. It looks like we're there. Another reason why I love this film. It's one of my top 3. That's one of the reasons why. And so this scene, this fight scene with him and Rexor and Thorgrim it doesn't look choreographed, even though in my brain I know it is. It has to be choreographed, has to be. But it doesn't look choreographed. And part of it is because everything looks so real. The set and the smoke and everything looks so real, and shit on fire in the background. And Thorgrim is so huge. He's almost as big as Arnold, or probably bigger than Arnold, honestly, at that time, because Arnold trimmed down. You believe, it's 100% believable that Thorgrim is wielding this huge, battle hammer, this huge fucking thing. And it doesn't look fake for him. It looks like absolutely he's using it. He can use it as a weapon. And Rexor is using a double-headed axe. And Conan is using a sword. And he's all over the place, and he's moving quicker than both of them. Which is funny to think of, Arnold being the agile one. But in this scene, Arnold slash Conan is the agile one. He's the one moving. He's the one that's got a better sense of where he's at and moving. Anyway, it's such a beautiful scene. And when Thorgrim, such a big and powerful and imposing character with that huge hammer, knocks that statue multiple times and then it comes down and he's like, whoops. It just feels and looks real and believable. When it falls and hits Rexor and hits the ground, it looks real. It doesn't look like Red Sonja where the stones look styrofoam. They really do. The really huge stone bricks or whatever look styrofoam. They hit somebody and you're like, yeah, and it didn't really affect you. It looked like fucking styrofoam bouncing off of you because it is styrofoam. In this, it looks like it could be marble. Like the way it falls, the dust of it, the way it hits him and he falls, the way it lands on the ground looks real. It looks like it could be marble. And then when it falls and lands on the ground and the way the top part behaves looks like it could be marble. Like that really could be real. That's a marble statue that Thorgrim knocked down for the scene. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it sure as hell looks like it is. And I appreciate that, and I love that. It just makes this scene look authentic, makes this whole film look authentic. Valeria baiting the guards, I love... Okay, I can't gush over Sandal Bergman enough. She won awards. She's fantastic. I love when they're escaping. Conan's got the princess over his shoulder. Subutai is behind him. He's running. Subutai's behind him, making sure he's okay. And it's Valeria that's making sure that nobody's following them. So she's at the tail end of it. And I love this part where she's fighting the guards and she like taunts them with her sword. She's patting her hand with the sword and then like she takes them out. Here's a wonderful example of the early 80s, a powerful woman, just wonderful. She's got the, great lines. She's got more lines than Arnold. And she's just wonderful, wonderful. I can't boast about Sandal enough in this film. Now they will know why they are afraid of the dark. Now they will learn why they fear the night. Infidel defilers. They should all drown in lakes of blood. James Earl Jones is amazing. I love him as Darth Vader in the Star Wars films. And I love him as Thulsa Doom in Conan. He plays a great bad guy. He plays a fantastic good guy too. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Even when you don't see him, The Lion King, he's just brilliant as Simba. I absolutely love him in the few Jack Ryan films he did. Clear and Present Danger is absolutely my favorite, but he's great as that character. I can't remember that character's name right now. It's not coming to my brain, but he's done some great work in his lifetime, and this is one of those characters. He does a great job at being a bad guy, great job at being a good guy, and here's his wonderful bad guy acting ability. I love this. Again, the magic in this is not Harry Potter. The magic in this is different, and I love it. When he turns that snake into a arrow, it's gorgeous. I don't know how they did that. Fuck. I would love to find out how they did that because it looks so real. It looks so great. And they don't have computer, remember, at the time. But he literally takes a living snake and turns it into this arrow, and it looks fantastic. They do it really, really well. And, it sucks that it's Valeria. I wasn't expecting that. I don't ever expect that. I think if you just let yourself if you let yourself not know the film and just be in it, you would never expect that it would be Valeria that gets shot. The wizard, I told him I would pay the gods. But that snake, it's just so cool to see it. The magic in this movie. It's real and it goes right through her, like completely through her. I think that was part magic because an arrow probably wouldn't have gone all the way through her. That's got to be part the magic. Went all the way through her. And then the gorgeous shot of Arnold pulling it out, because it looks like an arrow as he's pulling it out, but when it comes out, it's absolutely a real snake in his hand. I don't know how they did it, and I don't want to know how. Part of me wants to know. Part of me is like, I love the illusion of the fact that it looks like real magic. Like he took a real snake, turned it into an arrow, and when Arnold pulls it out and it's served its purpose, it turns back into a snake. Gorgeous. Love it. Love it. And he throws it aside. The funeral. Fire won't burn up there. No fire at all. And I wrote here, but when the wizard says, fire won't burn there. No fire at all. He mentioned that before. But Arnold don't care. Honey Badger don't care. Honey Badger don't care. Conan don't care. Like, this, she deserves to be with the gods. She deserves to be there. And she deserves to have this funeral pyre. And he doesn't give a shit. And fire happens. And the wizard, Akito, is like, whoa, visibly surprised and shocked. Why are you crying? Well, he's Conan, Cimmerian. He won't cry. So I cry for him. Love that. Again, that embodies what... So the question from the book was, what character would you identify with or connect with in what way? That line, that sentiment absolutely embodies part of who I am as a person, not as an actor, as a person. He won't cry. I'll cry for him. I'll take it on for him. My brother once told me that I was the most empathetic person, compassionate. I'm the most compassionate person he ever met. I have compassion and empathy for people because I can really understand and put myself where they are and in there. Now, that doesn't mean that I agree with everyone. Not absolutely not. But that definitely means that I can understand most people and where they're at and what they're going through. And that makes me a great actor because I have to understand the character and why and where and what they've been through. And this sentiment, when the character is like, he won't cry, so I cry for him. It's just another example of why I feel like that I would be that character. In real life, I would be that character. When he switches the... Fuck, what a performance. Okay, when he switches the necklace, because he takes off that necklace that I was talking about, that symbol that he had, and he puts the other necklace on. And just the air about him. Do you realize, at this point, if you've seen this, do you realize he still hasn't said a word since he's been resurrected? Conan has not had a line, not a word. Up until this point, he hasn't had a line. He still hasn't. He still doesn't for a while. Excuse me. A completely silent performance by Arnold. From the moment he is resurrected, actually before that, but anyway, from the moment he's resurrected to this moment, he still hasn't said a word. Conan hasn't said a word. Completely silent performance, and still we're like, love his character. He's not a piece of wood. You see the emotion. You see Conan. You see his performance is brilliant, and yet he still hasn't said a word. A word. Like, you've got to give him credit. You have to. Silent performance up into this point, and even further. And that couldn't have been a mistake. That couldn't have been a mistake. The director must have known. We don't have a word for all this whole time. He doesn't say anything, and there's a reason for it. There has to be a reason for it. So, speaking of him not saying a word, and when he finally does say a word. Okay, so I've seen the director's version. I like the director's version. We're going to get into that a lot at the end. But here we are in this scene where they're getting ready for battle. Love this getting ready for battle. It's really cool, all this setup. In the director's version, there is a conversation with Conan and Subotai about Conan's past and where he used to live and where he grew up. I remember the wild blueberries. It shows off Arnold's acting ability and being able to use dialogue, not just his physical, but able to use dialogue as well in a very good acting ability. I remember that. But in this version, the first line that he has after he's resurrected is, Akira comes with all those things and they say the gods are going to watch. And he says, are they going to help? That's his first line. Conan says, are they going to help? And he says, no. And he says, then tell them to stay out of the way. So that's Conan's first line after his resurrection, film-wise. I don't remember if that's before the Blueberry line, the intimate talk with Subotai in the director's version or not. Because I don't have the director's version anymore. I wish I did. I need to rebuy the director's version because I do enjoy the director's version. That little added piece of... there are several added pieces, but that especially, that little intimate part with him, Conan and Subotai are taking a little break. They're setting up, they're taking a little break, and they talk about... Actually, I don't think they're taking a break. I think he's still doing stuff, but he's talking to him. So I don't remember which line, for all intents and purposes, for theatrical version, his first line after that is that whole, are they going to help? Well, let's tell them to stay out of the way. That's his first line out of his resurrection. So they get ready. They're ready. Thulsa Doom and Rexor and Thorgrim and all of their, and a bunch of their guards, not all, a bunch of their guards are coming. And here is... Okay, remember the book? Remember I said, what was the best line or memorable quote? And I said the number one, I'm not going to say yet because I have a line for it. I have a note for it. I don't want to get it wrong. The number one, my favorite line in this whole film is Arnold's monologue here, which is fucking brilliant. It's just wonderfully written, wonderfully acted, brilliant, wonderful. This is the best line. Crumb, I've never prayed thee before. I have no tongue for it. No one will remember, not even you, if we were good men or bad, why we fought and why we died. No, all that matters is that two stood against many. That's what is important. Valor pleases you, Crumb, so grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you. Ah! That's not my best Arnold. I've been talking all night. When you use your voice, you can't get where you need to be. But who else than Arnold Schwarzenegger could defy the gods? Fuck you. And if you don't listen, to hell with you. Who else? Not even Clint Eastwood. Not even Clint Eastwood. Who else could defy the gods that way and be believable? And if you do not listen, then to hell with you. Love it. That is the best line of the whole fucking movie. That shows Conan coming into his own. I'm going to make my own destiny, my own way. Like Kiro, the wizard, says, he becomes king by his own hand. He is going to do it himself. Absolutely. Fuck yeah. I love this amazing scene. This again, these are the fight scenes that I look forward to. The gunfight scenes in other movies, yeah, they're fun. They're great. They're wonderful. I like a lot of the martial arts, scenes in in a bunch of Van Damme movies or Bruce Lee movies or things. Yes, those are great. Those are fantastic. I love watching them. And I love, the gun scenes with Arnold, in gun movies and, Keanu Reeves and John Wick and things like that. Yes. And even I fucking love the Denzel Washington, his scenes in the Equalizer films. Yes, absolutely. But these are the scenes that I wish I had more films in the sword and sorcery with great fight scenes like this. That's what I wish. With great actors, great fight scenes. It's really hard to get those because we get mediocre actors or even poor actors and not the best fight scenes. But I wish more quality actors, quality choreographers would make films like this. The Chronicles of Narnia, the second one. which was not my favorite. Prince Caspian. When William Moseley, King Peter, excuse me, not Prince, King Peter, fights that one guy. That's a great fight scene. There's some really good stuff there. Actually, in the first one, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which I did a review of, I saw in London, the world premiere. There's a great fight scene there, too, with him and the witch, with Tilda Swinton. There's a really good fight scene. There's some good stuff there. A couple of times it feels a little choreographed in that one, but the second one, the one in Prince Caspian, doesn't feel as choreographed, so really, really well done. But it's not long. There's no longevity to it. You have to enjoy what real quick, small fight scene it is. But this scene is fucking amazing. This whole scene in the graveyard is wonderful. Wonderful. When Conan takes the horse out instead of taking the guy out, I think I mentioned this in my review of Braveheart that he does it first, and then Braveheart steals it. William Wallace steals it in Braveheart. So I'm not a big D&D fan. I'm not confident with my improv. So I'm not, and I feel like I've always felt like D&D is all about improv. And so I have never been a fan of D&D because I'm afraid of the improv part of it. But I understand the characters. And I know that a wizard is not a fighter. He's not a warrior. He's not into swordplay. He's into magic and smarts. He's the nerd. I mean, don't take that out of context. I'm not using that as a negative. It's a positive. He's the nerd. He's the smart one. He's not a sword kind of person. Yes, in the Lord of the Rings, Gandalf uses a sword. He's okay with the sword. I would not say he's great, but he's good enough to be alive still. He's good enough to fight. He's not as good as, anyway. I love this line when Akiro said, I did it with my spear, when he kills that guy and he's freaking out like, I killed him with my spear. That is total. That just embodies, like I said, Mako is amazing. That just embodies the character of a wizard who's not used to physical combat, and he kills that guy, and he's like, and Subuntai's like, that's how we do it, and he's like, I did it with my spear. He's freaking out. I love that they added that. That's so good. I love this fake out with the helmet. Thorgrim, out of the corner of his eye, sees the helmet, walks past it, and then comes back and slams his hammer on the helmet, and then that contraption comes and that big spike right through him. I love that. That is so great because it's such a modern idea to have that kind of a booby trap and done so practically, but in the era and in the time. I love it. It's fantastic. And the look of it looks real as he's like falling over it and struggling. Sven does a great job acting. He looks like he's been impaled. He looks like he's struggling. It's fantastic. Valeria comes back. Do you want to live forever? Again, she said that at least 4 times throughout this. That embodies that character. But I love when she comes back and you can't see her well. She's obscured. She's got all that beautiful armor on, like a Valkyrie. Like a Valkyrie, she's just gorgeous. All that armor, and it's shimmering, and you can barely see it, and it's very obscured. And she has that one live, do you want to live forever? And then he turns and goes back, and she's gone. Brilliant. Like I said, foreshadow to this when she has that line before about, if I were dead and you still fighting for life, I would come back from the darkness. And she does. To fight at your side, I'd come back. I find it interesting that Rexor has Conan's father's sword. In the beginning, it's what Thulsa Doom wanted. Thulsa Doom's the one that oh, you know what? I'm wrong. Now that I think of it, in the beginning, Thulsa Doom uses it Thulsa Doom uses it to kill Conan's mom, but then he hands it off to Rexor. He does hand it off to Rexor. Wow. Okay, I'm just remembering that. He does hand it off to Rexor, because I have this note that says it's interesting that Rexor has it and not Thulsa Doom, because Thulsa Doom is the leader. But that has nothing to do with it. In the beginning, Thulsa Doom uses it, but then he hands it off to Rexor. So yeah, Rexor did have it. I love when Conan kills him and they don't spare the blood. You know, when Braveheart came out, I remember a lot of the reviewers were like, why does it have to be so bloody? This fucking movie is bloody too. And the second one is even more bloody, like insanely bloody. A sword is going to create blood, and a lot of it. Don't spare it, because if you do, it looks fake. So I appreciate that they used a good amount of blood. I appreciate that when he falls, the blood bounces, spatters out. I love that Conan has blood all over him too, because you're that close. Absolutely, it would happen. Again, I said, Thulsa Doom's a fucking coward. He flees. I love that he flees. I love when he shoots the air. Okay, another snake arrow, and Akiro, the wizard, is like, ugh. He recognizes the magic in it. And it's dark magic, and he wants it away from him. I love that little piece. If you really think about it, very smart, very well done. I love when now the revenge, like he says, grant me revenge. The revenge is almost complete. But what's important is now he has his father's sword. Yes, it's broken. He breaks his father's sword, which is appropriate. The son succeeds the father. Succeeds. So I appreciate the fact that his sword breaks his dad's sword. And then here's that beautiful, he thanks the gods, pays respect to the fact that it's almost complete. His revenge, his vengeance is almost complete, and he bows with the two swords. I love that shot. I love the slow-mo of it, slight slow-mo of it. Wonderful shot. Okay, so this whole ending scene. I love this ending scene. I have a handful of notes, but what I want to say is, when I was a kid, watching this on the original version that my dad recorded onto a VHS, I don't remember the princess ever being there. Prove me wrong, internet. Please prove me wrong if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But the original version, the princess was never there. Not until the very end, and he's carrying her away. She was never there. And in this version that I have, in the director's version, I noticed it. I was like, whoa, she's leading him through the castle. She's distracting the guards. She's the one that's going through. And I think it's gorgeous. I really do. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I think it's gorgeous. It lends an artisticness to the ending scene. The whole ending scene. Again, the music is driving it. The shots are slow and artistic. Arnold is just wonderful because he's moving slow. He's got the intention. He's being a piece of art instead of, an action hero. He's being a piece of art, absolutely. In his intention, I'm sure Milius worked with him. But in this version, I'm seeing her lead him, and this artistic way of him slowly moving up with the music. The music is drawing him. The music is drawing him through the castle and up to as Thulsa Doom has his lines and things like that. I don't remember that being in the original version. She was not in the original version. He killed a couple of guards, got up there to him, and then to Thulsa Doom. It was quick. It wasn't artistic. It wasn't slow. It was just quick and getting up there, and there he is. But in this version that I have, and in the director's version, I remembered it first. In the director's version, she leads him up there. I love the manipulation by Thulsa Doom. Okay, here we are. We know this is the end of the film. Let's get some good James Earl Jones going. For who is your father now if it is not me, my son? I love this manipulation. I am the wellspring from which you flow. He almost gets Conan, and I love that about it. I love that about it. I don't feel bad because I love Conan. I absolutely love him, but I don't feel bad that Thulsa Doom almost gets him, and you see it. But then the realization, again, brilliant performance by Arnold, but then the realization, and then snap to by Conan, and he kills him with his father's sword. Whack! And hacks his head off. Love it. Love it. But what I love even more is he hacks his head off, and he throws it. And the sound, the distinct sound, I even remember this when I was younger, when it hits the ground and rolls down the stairs. I'm like, oh, fuck. It sounds, I imagine it sounds like what a head would sound like if that were to happen. Like it's not like the Terminator. Remember when I talked about the Terminator, where every handgun sounded exactly the same. And you're like, this just sounds bad. This sounds like, that sounds like what I imagine a head would sound like if you were to throw it and then fall down stone stairs. The sound of it is just brilliant. I love it. And then I love the immediate, it's not just what you see. It's the idea behind when he drops his father. He visually drops his father's sword for everyone to see. He's not doing it on his own. He's literally making a spectacle of it. Why? He is saying it's over. Not only his quest is over, but Thulsa Doom is over. This is over. It's a beautiful, I want to say sentiment, but there's another word for it. It's just a representation. Is a beautiful representation of this is done. It's final. It's done. And he's showing all of them. Thulsa Doom is fake. He's a fraud, and it's over. And then, they all leave. Again, the amount of fucking people that is not computer. Those are all background actors. Those are all real people. I mean, just the sheer mass of people it took to record, to make this film, to make those scenes with all Doom's followers. I love it when he winds up and throws that thing. Again, the princess shows up. I don't ever remember the princess ever being there. All of her was out of it. In the original version, I don't ever remember seeing her ever in this whole ending scene. Anyway, I love this when he winds up that, I'm assuming it's like a canister of oil that's on fire. He winds up and he throws it. And then I'm assuming that it falls, the oil spills out, the fire goes up, and that's why all that fire. But then even as a kid, I was like, what's catching fire? It's all stone. Like, what? Does stone burn? I can't think that stone would burn. I always thought to myself, why is it catching fire? There's no wood. There's barely any cloth. It's all stone. How is it catching fire? I don't know. I'm not a physicist. I wouldn't know. Does stone at a certain temperature catch fire? Maybe it does. Maybe it does. I just love the look of it, of Schwarzenegger, and the look of it, the idea of it, him throwing it, setting it on fire. Love it. And then the princess leads him around. So in this version, when he turns back, again, it's very artistic. It's very slow. It's a dance, kind of. I don't want to say dance because then you get the wrong idea, but it really is beautifully choreographed, slowly done artistically in this version that I'm seeing with the princess. Without the version without the princess, I could swear there's a version without the princess. I can swear there's a version without the princess. It's not. It's quick and it's to the point. This is artistic and slow on purpose, and beautifully so, because the music is driving it. The whole film, the music has driven the film. And so here is no exception. He is artistically, Arnold is moving the way he's supposed to be moving, the representation. He turns back he offers his hand to the princess. The princess takes it, and they leave. Here's where I remember seeing the princess. When he's carrying her in that wide shot, he's walking away. And then we have the voiceover, the wizard talking about, he returns the King Osric's daughter. He returns her. That's when I remember seeing the princess finally. Not in that whole ending scene, just that, like Conan's carrying her away, and then we hear the voiceover, and then we go to him sitting on the throne. Anyway, I love it. When they have that narration at the end, and he says, "This story shall also be told." I heard that this was always supposed to be like De Laurentiis. De Laurentiis wanted this to be like James Bond. He wanted every couple of years a new Conan would come out. Unfortunately, the second one, Destroyer, was not. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. I knew that was coming, and I think a second one is coming. The second one was not received very well, Destroyer, and so I think that just cut the legs off of the possibility of this being a James Bond type of thing where a new one came out every couple of years. Plus, Arnold didn't want to get stuck doing the same character, and I believe De Laurentiis, like, as a producer, went under. Like, he just, things didn't go well. But it would have been cool to have a new Conan film every couple of years. Arnold kept himself in such great shape when you watch the Terminator films later on in his life that I'm sure he could have gone on to make, 6 or 8 of these films, and it would have been amazing. I would have loved that because, like I said, this is my favorite time period. And I just wish there were more movies that really did a great job with this kind of film. The music is just amazing. The end credits, music goes, and I'm just like, yes! And I could listen to that all day. Okay, that's Conan the Barbarian. I love this movie, as you can tell. One of my top 3, absolutely. And it is second to last on this 52-week challenge, which I didn't do in 52 weeks. But still, I'm completing the book no matter whether I do it in 52 weeks or not. I have one more. Can you guess what the last film is going to be? Come on. You can probably guess already. By listening to this review, I'm pretty sure you already know what my next review is going to be, which will complete the book. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Love Conan the Barbarian. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you have seen it and haven't seen it in a long time, I hope you listen to what I have to say and really take it to heart. Rewatch it with these things in mind and just appreciate this really is a fantastic film. I think it's fantastic. I know Quentin Tarantino did not like it. He tore it a whole new... Anyway, he didn't like it. I love it. Love it. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll get you another review as soon as possible. I don't know how soon because my birthday is in 6 days, and I got a lot going on between now and then, so I may not get it to you until after. I don't know. Plus, I have a friend coming to stay with me from out of state for a week, so I'll get it to you as soon as I can. Thanks for listening.